hello, and here we are again for another episode of Inspired Good Fat Life. And I can't wait for today's conversation, right? It's actually every week I pretty much can't wait for the conversation because I'm just so grateful and inspired by the message that my guests always bring. And that is the whole point of Good Fat Life, our magazine. And it's full of articles and inspiration and things that maybe you hadn't thought about in a way that maybe you hadn't thought about it before. We spend a lot of time and effort on that. And so go to our website, goodfatlife.com, and check out all the very cool things that are happening that we're doing. And so that I'm just like, today's been so high energy, right, Carolyn?
It's been a great day so far.
It's been a great day so far. And so I want to introduce my guest, Carolyn LaPan from Satori. Satori CL, that's right. Okay. And Carolyn is so full of topics, right? The topics that we all need, we all want to know more and understand about. She's a functional nutritionist, so why don't you just explain what that is quickly?
Absolutely. So I'm a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner. So basically what that means is when it comes to health and wellness, we try to take a holistic look at the individual, and we look at root cause symptoms. So as opposed to just treating what's on the surface, what's causing the uneasiness in your body, if it's digestive, if it's hormonal, if it's cardiovascular, could it be stress? There's a lot of different variables, obviously. And so we talk a lot about nutrition and lifestyle management and movement and the whole picture. So people can have an optimal, healthy life. So
I'm laughing because we just had this conversation about languaging, right? And perception. And Carolyn said exercise. And I'm like, don't use that word. It's kind of like budgeting. Nobody wants to do a budget, but they'll do an intention map, right?
Right.
So those are things. So I say, don't use exercise because I hear that word and I just immediately go, nope.
Yes. And I gave the example of diet.
Yeah.
People hear the word diet and they think restrictive. And it doesn't have to be restrictive. It's just, different choices.
Choices. And I have to say, you've really helped me open my mind on lots of different choices. And I feel like I have a lot of new choices to make, continued choices to make, right?
Sure.
Especially since, and we're going to talk about this in a later episode about the hormones. So Carolyn she's my functional nutritionist, and I'm taking a hormone test for 200-300 different hormones?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
And so I'm really excited to see what comes out from that and how I modify my nutrition and my movement, right? So talk
Absolutely.
about that
Yeah. So when people hear the word hormones, they often think estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, adrenaline, and there's about 195 more. So it's not just, the main ones that we have heard of through everyday life. And they are chemical messengers in our body, and they impact or touch just about everything from our mood to our temperature regulation to, just so many things. So there's ways to help balance hormones. And so tomorrow I'm going to be talking at the Brighton Lighthouse about this very topic. And then I have a 4-week program that I offer. But the idea behind it is addressing things from a nutritional standpoint. We talk about sleep, we talk about lifestyle, what symptoms to look for, when to see a doctor, because, when it comes to certain things, certain symptoms, we don't want to guess. We test for it. So it's not all just kind of nowhere near a one fix for everyone. It's very, very individualized.
So that's why I'm so excited to get mind back.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
see what you suggest. So what, so movement, we're hearing, and I'm sure that based on my hormone tests, you're going to prescribe some different kinds of movement. So every single thing we're reading now is like, sitting is the new smoking, right? And every health practitioner that I know that is really engaged in reading what's going on and says, move, just move. So tell us, how do we move better?
Right. So I would say, at a very minimum, 20 minutes a day. So that means, if it means setting your phone as a reminder, oftentimes watches have that reminder to stand every hour. That helps a lot with circulation. Ideally we want an hour's worth of movement, but I would say minimum 20 minutes.
But when you say movement, so help define that.
Sure.
Is it like walking up and down the stairs?
I just thought of that example. Walking up and down the stairs, walking outside after, dinner can help with lowering blood sugar. So that's a really good one to do. Finding something you love to do is just, it could be dancing in your kitchen, or, it could be, I'm very big into pickleball right now. So I love playing pickleball, with my husband and my son. And so that's kind of our fun thing to do. So whatever, it doesn't have to be a majorly intense workout for it to count. And I think that's where people kind of, their mind goes like, oh, well, if I have to, buy new gear, or I have to go to a gym, or I have to go to a certain place, like it's just not going to happen. So, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be stairs, it can be squats, it can be jumping jacks, it can be push-ups, it can be just walking with a friend. Literally the word movement. So,
and I've been reading that that doesn't have to happen all at once. So,
right.
You don't have to. So if you say the goal is an hour, so immediately your brain goes, okay, where am I going to get an hour in the day to go move?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Right.
Walking, dancing, lifting weights, whatever.
Sure.
Riding a bike. But it can be 5 minutes. Is that true?
I think it's better to spread it out, actually. And I think that makes it more doable for people if you do it in 5 and 10 minute increments.
Right. So if you just can get up from your desk and go for a 5 minute walk.
Right.
Probably not to the break room or your kitchen, right? To the refrigerator, which is what happens a lot. I was talking with my son, and he they both work out of their house, right? Mm-hmm. And so he said, get up, and then it's easy to walk through the kitchen to the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And so it's a habit. Right. And
you're reading my mind right now.
And so how to make the habit, like walk out the front door and walk around the block and then come back. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and even like, when you wake up, you go to the kitchen. When people come home from being out, they go walk in, take a turn, go straight to the pantry. It's out of habit. And I think if people can recognize that urge, now we're talking about eating and moving off of movement, but the eating habit piece, if you can recognize it, look at your watch, wait 10 minutes, you're probably like, I wasn't hungry in the first place. It was just out of habit. So I think we do that a lot, just not even thinking about it.
Right. Especially since COVID, since we were home so much.
Yeah.
But as you're talking, I'm thinking, I guess it would work to get up, walk out of the house, do 5-10 minutes out and back, walk, and then go back to my desk.
And the benefits of that are amazing. So number one, getting sunlight first thing in the morning is going to help set your circadian rhythm for the day, and help you, your cortisol will go higher. So that's your get it done hormone.
Okay.
You're more productive. And then that will taper off and serotonin will rise as the day progresses. So then you'll sleep better if you can get sunlight. I just was reading about a study of people with early onset Alzheimer's, and they showed that movement for them was increasing areas of the hippocampus. And so that's our memory center. So movement helps with that. Movement helps with cardiovascular issues, just keeping your blood moving, keeping your arteries clear. You don't have to be completely winded and out of breath, but you'd be surprised of just a brisk walk, how much, that gets your heart pumping and your lungs moving, and that helps with your immune system. So there's so much going on that if we can just do, as opposed to, hit it hard on the weekend and then don't do it again for 5 or 7 days. It's like,
well, I noticed even like I sing in a choir, right, in the Livingston County Women's Chorus, and even that, it's singing. Singing moves your lungs. It makes you breathe deeper and harder, and it's physical.
Yeah.
And so what I've been spending time, I guess, is looking for those things to do that are physical that maybe I hadn't thought of as being physical before. So it's and you go to choir, you're walking around, you're moving around, and you're up and down, and so being more mindful about doing something like that every single day. That is, it's fun. I look forward to it,
right?
And it's physical,
right? So 2 things with that. One is singing is very good for the vagus nerve, which is a big, thick nerve that connects at the base of our head down to our stomach. So that's a connection, the brain-gut connection.
Okay.
I did
not know that.
Yeah,
cool. Okay.
It's a bilateral connection. So like when we feel anxious, and then we feel it in our tummy, it's like they're communicating. So singing is something that can really help keep that connection open and clear. And the other thing, too, specifically about singing or any sort of deep breathing is if you look at your blood work, and I can go back and look at yours, but CO2 is something that's measured in a basal metabolic panel. So that's typically your typical test that you get every year. And if people are not moving and are more sedentary, they're taking a lot of shallow breaths. And oftentimes, like the really elderly people, they have high CO2 levels because they're not emptying, the lungs. And it's just these really shallow breaths. So that is something that shows up in your blood work. So I bet yours is excellent because I know you're big on the meditation and the singing and things like that. So
and I hadn't really thought about that from a breath standpoint. I mean, on my watch it has that blood oxygen monitor.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, is that the same thing you're talking about, or is that something else?
It's something else.
Okay,
but yeah.
All right, but But I realized because I got a sinus infection a month or so ago, and I really was having a hard time breathing. And I didn't realize, it's like when it doesn't work right, you realize how important it is.
Right.
How critical that deep breath is and how calming it is. Mm-hmm. We always hear that. Well, and that's another reason maybe why singing at the top of your lungs just feels so good.
It feels good, yeah.
It feels good, right? So what are some other things that you would say are good ways to kind of work movement into your day that counts?
Sure. Trying to carry some things around the house, which a lot of us end up doing anyway. But I would say things, and this is now kind of going into more of a strength balance thing, but when carrying laundry, when you're holding it out in front, if you can maybe lift it a little bit. And if you're holding a weight that's out in front of you, that helps your balance a lot. And that's something that I work on when I focus on the longevity piece, because as we age, we want to make sure our balance is tip top. So in that example, if you're holding something out in front of you, you you probably don't realize it, but all the little muscles in your feet and toes are kind of going back and forth and working on balance. So that just that little bit of strengthening is really helpful.
So even like carrying groceries.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
And there's, I have Peloton on today. So they have home equipment that is, if you haven't had a chance yet, they have, not even with the equipment, but you can get the app and have access to their instructors. They have strength classes, yoga, meditation, cycling, running, outdoor walking. There's a ton of different apps that, will guide you on that. What I like to do is really in my house, as you mentioned, the stairs, get up, walk around the block. It's just less than a mile, like my block. Some people, they'll do squats, while they're brushing their teeth. I know they do that. I know another person that does 25 push-ups before getting into bed. I mean, it's just things that they, kind of came up with. And it's like, again, I think you mentioned it earlier, which is worth repeating, is spreading it out. So I think those you'll gain benefits, and it's something that you don't see right away, but there is, like I said earlier, a lot happening.
So I read that if you want to change a habit, attach it to something else that you do. So
that
like
you're already doing.
Yes. Like, so I started doing push-ups. I wanted to build, and I mean, seriously, I was starting with like girl push-ups, like,
That's okay.
But I was doing them before I took a shower. Well, then it was like, as I was getting more and more, I was up to like 25 boy push-ups. I mean,
nice.
That's how we were trained, right? Girl push-ups, boy push-ups. And then it got so I didn't want to take a shower because I didn't want to do the push-ups. And I'm like, that's kind of self-defeating. So it's like we have to rethink this a little bit. But to your point, it is easy to do squats while you're brushing your teeth. I mean, it is easy to put those things in, and knowing that it does make a difference is interesting. Right? I mean, it is, and it's kind of motivating.
Yeah.
So then it's not exercise, it's just movement. And my chiropractor likes to call them little snacks. Have a little snack as a movement.
Yeah, I like that.
And so it's just so much easier to do that. And you're right, it does add up.
Yeah, and like you said, you're pairing it with something you're already doing.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why, I can't move my lower body when I'm brushing my teeth. I mean, I'm not doing it. I'm just standing there.
Right.
Yeah. And just to your point on push-ups, I would recommend, they're a great exercise because it's all upper body, it's abs, but starting on your knees, and then when you can get past that, even just like leaning against something, like sometimes like a kitchen counter or a dresser, and doing them and then once you get good at that, put your hands on some stairs, maybe like the third step, so you're getting lower. You see the angle, so you have more weight. But yeah, just progressing and modifying, and just wherever you're at, start doing something a little bit.
So, well, those are great suggestions. And so I guess I would just like to encourage our readers, our listeners, to find those things. And I have been intentional in saying I want to get an hour in every day, but in 5-minute increments or 10 minutes or something. And then it's easier and it's more fun, right? And it doesn't seem like this huge hurdle.
Yeah, you have that immediate dopamine hit, that immediate sense of accomplishment.
How long does it take to get the dopamine to actually release?
Oh gosh, right away.
Like within a minute or two?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right away.
I mean, that's even cool.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, right away. It's immediate. It keeps us going. Yeah. So you have that internal reward, that internal recognition, that feeling of being proud.
And so just to kind of finish up, so it's another thing that we can do that we have with us 24/7 when you're just feeling a little like, oh, blah. I need something to kind of like pick me up. Or I
Right.
don't want to do this next thing that I want to do. Maybe you have to write a report or something. Then go run up and down the stairs and you got that dopamine hit and everything feels better.
Yeah. It literally changes your brain chemistry. So yeah, capitalize on that.
So, and so even, I love that, right? It's just so cool. It's so cool when we learn about our bodies, what a real magnificent machine they really are.
Amazing.
That we just don't even appreciate.
The hardest part is just starting. Just do it. I mean, literally heard that before.
Exactly. Hey, sounds like a multi-billion-dollar slogan, right?
Yeah. But once you do, that's really the hardest part. And even for me too. I mean, there's times when I don't really feel like it, but I know myself well enough to know that I'm going to feel great.
If you just do it. Yeah. So, okay. So if people wanted to find you, where would they find you?
Sure. They can go to my website, which is SatoriCL. So it's SatoriCL.com. And they can find me there.
Okay. And we'll put those in the show notes. And I encourage everyone to go check out goodfatlife.com and just see all the cool things that are happening. It's, like I said, I'm on a high all day long because of the people that just keep showing up to, like you, who just inspire me to do something different, but do it in a way that I can see myself doing. Right?
Yeah, that's great.
And being successful at. And this event that we're going to be participating in tomorrow, it's got what, 8 or 10?
Yeah, I think about close to 10 presenters, as well as other people that will be around in the wellness area, just all different modalities of wellness.
And amazing food and companionship and, again, a community. So that there's that sense like you're never alone.
Right.
Which makes it all good fun.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And on that happy note, let's go out and enjoy the sun, right? And live our